Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone. Come on in and get your seat. Get your feminist spirit on. Ow! Good morning. Everyone is welcome. Welcome all. Before we get started, I want to point out this little wild woman pin our dear elder Sue Coppernole made, and if we can all just take a deep breath and hold her in our thoughts for a few moments. She's not doing very well in health-wise, so Sue Coppernole. Fiery and fierce feminist. Thank you, Sue. I have some original music for you today. This is a song based on a prompt by my dear lifelong friend who I call Mama Mary. She asked me to write a political love song. What is that? Dedicated to the women 7 generations from now. So it was 2018, and when I did the math, I came up with the year 2158, which puts us in the 22nd century. Hello, women of the 22nd century, the daughters, the grands, and the greats still yet to be. I hope we made it. I hope it's not too late. I hope you're hearing this in 2158. Hey, yeah, rise up. Hey, yeah, rise up. Hey, 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 yeah, rise up. Hey, yeah, rise up. From where we are now, things could go either way, equal and chill, or the end of the human race, gathering strength on the leading edge of thought. Over 5,000 years we have resisted and fought against corruption, injustice, and greed, fought against the man and his misogyny, fought against the system, racism, and hate. May the fighting be done in 2158. Hey, yeah, rise up. Hey, yeah, rise up. Hey, 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 yeah, rise up. Hey, yeah, rise up. Raising voices loudly, making choices proudly, taking down the patriarchy. Standing up united, no time to be divided, restoring human decency. Hey, yeah, rise up. Hey, yeah, rise up. Hey, 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 yeah, rise up. Hey, yeah, rise up. Take a way back look to the ancient days before crusaders and devils put an end to the pagan ways. Women were revered, held half the power when women were safe in a place of honor. Hey, yeah, rise up. Hey, yeah, rise up. Hey, 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 yeah, rise up. Hey, yeah, rise up. By now we must know earth is our medicine. The plants and the roots connect divine within. Healing heart to heart, reality from thought. Discovering the knowledge of the things we should be taught. Taught about equality, justice, and love. Taught about the planet and the stars above. Taught about respect and the female divine. Open up the conscious to another paradigm. Hey, yeah, rise up. Hey, yeah, rise up. Hey, 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 yeah, rise up. Hey, yeah, rise up. When everyone is equal, kind and gentle people, everybody has what they need. Food and clothes and shelter, clean and running water, where everyone can focus on peace. Hey, yeah, rise up. Hey, yeah, rise up. Hey, 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 yeah, rise up. Hey, yeah, rise up. So dear women of the 22nd century, the daughters, the grands, and the great still yet to be, I'm writing you this song of love and thanks, a song of rising up and doing what it takes. Hey, yeah, rise up. 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 Can I hear you? Hey, yeah, rise up. 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 Hey, yeah, hey, rise up. 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 Rise up. Rise up.
Jori, that was powerful. Thank you so much. Wow. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Fayetteville. My name is Diane Vigent, and I am a member of the Chalice team. I am always glad to participate in services here, but I am especially honored to be a part of this one. 50 years of feminist transformation. Wow. I wasn't officially a UU until 2004, but I definitely lived those 50 years of transformation. The first decade of that for me was spent in my hometown of Phoenix, Arizona. That's all the turquoise. In my personal history, I was fired from a job for being pregnant, and I was married at the time. When I was violently attacked by my estranged husband. The police arrested him, but they let me know without a doubt it was only a domestic dispute because we were still legally married. Later that same year, I had to face a panel and swear that I would harm myself if I was forced to carry the result of further abuse by that same man to term. And I flew from Phoenix to California for a pre-Roe abortion. I am distressed at seeing so much of the progress of these years being currently dismantled. I look forward to hearing from Natalie about how Unitarian Universalists have been part of these changes and how we may continue to help move forward instead of backwards. Unitarian Universalism is a religious tradition that values freedom in religious thought and journey. We uphold the unity of our interconnections, our connections to each other, to all of life, and to the precious universe of which we are all a part. We affirm the universality of love and hope as we journey together in community, and we welcome you, whoever you are at this moment, and wherever you are in your spiritual journey. For those of you joining us online, welcome. If you are new, please check out our website, uufayetteville.org, for more information. For those of you visiting the first time in person, you'll find a visitor card, information card in the seat back in front of you. We'd love for you to fill one out so that we can get you on the email list and keep you informed of our events. Later in our service, we will have a time when you're invited to come forward and drop a stone, symbolizing your joy and concern into our bowl of water over here. If you have a joy or concern you'd like to share, we invite you to fill out one of these yellow cards that are in the seat backs in front of you. There's a place on there to indicate if you want your joy or concern shared aloud, or if you want it to be held confidential and shared only with leadership. If you do fill out a yellow card, you can bring it forward at that time. If you are online, you may write those joys and concerns in the comments online at that time. Please note that comments made online will all be public. If you have a need for hearing assistance, our AV tech back in the back, David, can help you with that. Children, of course, are always welcome in our services, but there is a staff nursery available downstairs if you prefer. Please remember at this time, if you have not already, silenced your cell phones as we enter into our service. At this time, I'd like to introduce my husband, Bill, who will assist me by lighting the chalice. Please join us as we share these words. Love is the spirit of this community, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in truth, and to help one another. Thus do we covenant together.
Good morning, everyone. I'm super excited to be here speaking on the topic of feminist transformation and Unitarian Universalism. And I want to thank Diane for sharing a part of her story with us. Every woman has a story, and it's important that we keep sharing them and our experiences with injustice so that we can promote compassion and change. As we all know, words have power. To open, I want to share the powerful messages found in women's rights slogans. I hope we can all embrace one or more of these mantras, which can center us and be a call to action. My body, my right. Equal rights are not special rights. Feminism is for everybody. Hear our voice. Empowered women empower the world. Equality knows no gender. Women's place is every place. Break the glass ceiling and let equality prevail. The future is female. One girl with courage is revolution. Thank you.
This is from our gray hymnal 212, but I did take some liberties since the lyrics were already changed from the spiritual. The last lines will be on the screen, and they change every time. But the first three lines are the same, so please rise if you're willing and able and sing along. We are dancing Sarah's circle. We are dancing Sarah's circle. We are dancing Sarah's circle. Sisters, brothers all. Here we seek and find our history. Here we seek and find our history. Here we seek and find our history. Family, neighbors all. We will all do our own naming. We will all do our own naming. We will all do our own naming. Friends and family all. Every round of generation, every round of generation, every round of generation, parents, children all. On and on the circles moving, on and on the circles moving, on and on the circles moving, babies, elders all. Thank you. You may be seated. But you knew that.
Hello. I'm going to be reading The Paper Bag Princess, a story by Robert Munch, and art by Robert Marchenko. I'm really horrible with names. I'm sorry. Elizabeth was a beautiful princess. She lived in a castle and had expensive princess clothes. She was going to marry a prince named Ronald. Unfortunately, a dragon smashed her castle, burned all her clothes with his fiery breath, and carried off Prince Ronald. and she lived happily ever after. Elizabeth decided to chase the dragon and get Ronald back. She looked everywhere for something to wear, but the only thing she could find that was not burnt was a paper bag. So she put it on the paper bag and followed the dragon. He was easy to follow because he left a trail of burnt forests and horse bones everywhere. Finally, Elizabeth came to a cave with a large door that had a huge knocker on it. She took hold of that knocker and banged the door. The dragon stuck his nose out of the door and said, "Well, princess, I'm sorry. Yeah, he did say that. I love to eat princesses, but I've already eaten a whole castle today. I'm a very busy dragon. Come back tomorrow." He slammed the door so fast that Elizabeth almost got her nose caught. Elizabeth grabbed the knocker and banged on the door again. The dragon stuck his nose out of the door and said, "Go away. I love to eat princesses." Did I already read that? Oh, okay. I was like, "But I've already eaten a whole castle today. I'm a very busy dragon. Come back tomorrow." "Wait," shouted Elizabeth. "Is it true that you are the smartest and fiercest dragon in the whole world?" "Yes," said the dragon. "It is true," said Elizabeth, "that you can burn up 10 forests with your fiery breath?" "Oh, yes," said the dragon. And he took a huge deep breath and breathed out so much fire that he burned up 50 forests. "Fantastic," said Elizabeth. And the dragon took another huge breath and breathed out so much fire that he burnt up 100 forests. "Magnificent," said Elizabeth. The dragon took another huge breath, but this time, nothing came out. The dragon didn't even have enough fire left to cook a meatball. Elizabeth said, "Dragon, is it true that you can fly around the world in just 10 seconds? "Well, yes," said the dragon, and jumped up and flew all the way around the world in just 10 seconds. He was very tired when he got back, but Elizabeth shouted, "Fantastic! Do it again!" So the dragon jumped up and flew around the whole world in just 20 seconds. When he got back, he was too tired to talk, and he laid down and went straight to sleep. Elizabeth whispered very softly, "Hey, dragon." The dragon didn't move at all. She lifted up the dragon's ears and put her head right inside. She shouted as loud as she could, "Hey, dragon!" The dragon was so tired, he didn't even move. Elizabeth walked right over the dragon and opened up the door to the cave. There was Prince Ronald. He looked at her and said, "Elizabeth, you're a mess. You smell like ashes, your hair is all tangled, and you are wearing a dirty old paper bag. Come back when you're dressed like a real princess." "Ronald," said Elizabeth, "your clothes are really pretty, and your hair is very neat. You look like a real prince, but you are a bum." I thought that said bum, but I was like, a burn? No, bum. A bum. They didn't get married after all.
Natalie invited us to wear our, social justice clothing, and I see several of you are. Looks great. And I looked in my closet and like, So I had to go out and get something. So I'm wearing it. So thank you, and I'll be wearing it. I'm wearing it often. Speaking of the slogans, by the way, I remember one from high school. This was about 1980, and I saw a T-shirt. It said, "A woman's place is in the House and the Senate." I would add, and the Oval Office. Well, it is time for our joys and concerns. As a community of people who care about each other, we like to share our ups and our downs, our major milestones, transitions that have occurred. And so we have this tradition we love of coming forward, and you can get a stone from Chris and drop it in the bowl of water. And as the ripples go out in circles, you can think about how we are all connected, and each of us affects the other within this room and beyond to the rest of the world. If you have filled out one of the yellow cards and you have a concern that you want either shared with the leadership or you want read aloud, then you can give that to me also. So we invite you to come up that aisle, do the stone, give me a card if you have one. Thank you. Jori? Jori. David, do we have any online? Not today. So we have several, both joys and concerns, and an amazing turnout at the Indivisible meeting, and a very good civics lesson. There's stuff happening. Stuff's happening. All right. Well, let's drop some stones for the joys and sorrows on our hearts that were perhaps too tender to share today. And then a few more for the things we're going to encounter in the coming days and weeks that we may not yet know about, that we'll have the strength and surround ourselves and each other with the love and support we need. Let's take 60 seconds to meditate or pray or think about these things that we've shared together. Okay, thank you. It's time in our service to share as we're able. This fellowship is supported by the offerings of its members and friends, and we invite you to do that again as you're able. If you're visiting, sit on your wallet and don't worry about it. We got it. But if we will accept, if you want to give us something, we'll accept it. But no expectation. Jori's going to play us some music as our ushers come up, and then after that, a special song to present.
Get me out of here, I just don't belong where the things I say and do and think are said to be wrong. Help me, figure a way out. Tell me, what is life all about? What is life all Trapped on this earth and disconnected from source, navigating carnal obstacles and wondering what for. Help me, I'm stuck at the crossroads. Tell me, which way do I go? Which way do I go? I learned the truth about Adam and Eve, how the women took the fall for the sin of humanity. A tree of knowledge, now how bad could that be? A serpent symbolizing time with female divinity. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. My state of mind is in a constant state of shock when supposed authority demand that children be locked up. History repeating with unstoppable dread. The hatred toward women surely must be addressed. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. Get me out of here, this scandalous place, separated by our sexes, by our gender and race. Help me, question authority. Help me, create new reality. Create new reality. Get me out of here, my skin is too raw. Get me out of here, I'm giving it all now. Help me, let me die easy. Tell me of a life that is pleasing. Of a life that is pleasing. By gender definition, we're ensnared in a trap. While patriarchy lies a smoke, it's just bragging laughs. While radicals on every side fight tooth and nail, semantics of identity have left us derailed. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return. Dangerous times with very dangerous curves, exalting war and greed over dignity, waging crimes of hate, it's insanity. There are nations of women, a world full of girls. Where will they find their safe space to speak and be heard? There's a war against women and girls. There's a war on the plants of the earth. There's a war against black and brown skin. There's a war on our bodies within. There's a war on the poor and the sick, enforcing war from corrupt government. There's a war on our health and our souls, waging war when just men have control. Listen to women, listen to girls, stop silencing women, listen within. Listen to women, listen to girls, stop silencing women, listen within. Thank you. Thank you. I wrote that song for my friend Susan Weishart.
That was amazing. I feel like that was my service in song form. And I'm so excited to be energized by your music, Jori. So the title of this talk is 50 Years of Feminist Transformation and Unitarian Universalism. And it was inspired by an article written by Kimberly French and published in UU World in 2007. The article begins, Lucille Shuck Longview went to Mexico City in 1975 as a Unitarian Universalist delegate to the United Nations International Women's Year Conference. While there, she later wrote, it dawned on her that one of the main obstacles to equality for women was religion itself. Even within the Unitarian Universalist Association, which affirmed equal rights for women, she believed the religious roots of sexism had never really been scrutinized. When she returned to her congregation, Longview wrote and circulated a resolution asking all Unitarian Universalists to examine carefully their own religious beliefs and reconsider teachings that perpetuate attitudes that cause women everywhere to be overlooked and undervalued. This became the Women and Religion Resolution, and it passed unanimously at the association's 1977 General Assembly. This was a radical act, one that seems radical even today, close to 50 years later. I'm going to come back to the resolution in a moment, but now I want to focus on the timeline of women's rights in this country because it gives historical context to what was happening when the resolution passed. It also highlights the recency of fundamental women's rights, the swaying of the pendulum towards equality and against it, and the long road still ahead for achieving gender equality. The first wave of feminism began in the late 1800s and early 1900s. Many timelines show the Seneca Falls Convention held in 1848 as the starting point, which was just 177 years ago. At Seneca Falls, New York, 300 women and men signed the Declaration of Sentiments drafted by Elizabeth Cady Stanton, which was a plea for the end of discrimination against women in all spheres of society. The Declaration described the unjust and unequal treatment of women and presented 12 resolutions demanding legal and cultural reform. So this is not a new idea. A few years later, in 1900, married women gained property rights in all states. A few years after that, white women gained the right to vote as a result of the 19th Amendment after a 72-year fight. In 1923, the Equal Rights Amendment was introduced. It states equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. And we're going to talk more about the ERA in the second wave of feminism. In 1938, the Fair Labor Standards Act establishes minimum wage without regard to sex. The second wave of feminism began in the 1960s and intersected with the civil rights movement. A lot of pro-equality legislation was passed during this wave. Congress passes the Equal Pay Act in 1963. People of color gained the right to vote in 1965, 45 years after the 19th Amendment was passed. In 1967, civil rights protections were extended to women. President Lyndon Johnson expanded affirmative action policies of 1965 to cover discrimination based on sex, because, you know, that's important too. As a result, federal agencies had to take active measures to ensure that women, as well as people of color, have the same employment and educational opportunities as men. In 1969, California adopts the first no-fault divorce law, setting a precedent for making it easier for women to obtain a divorce. And in 1972, contraceptives become legally available to all women following a series of legal cases. And that's not all. Like I said, there was a lot going on during the second wave. During the second wave of feminism, Title IX of Education Amendments of 1972 was passed. This required that schools receiving federal funds provide equal access to educational programs for both men and women. However, the law only took effect in 1976 after withstanding repeated court challenges, and it is credited with the explosive growth of women and girls in athletics at the high school, collegiate, and professional levels. Coming back to the Equal Rights Act, it was introduced in 1923 and was finally passed by Congress in 1972, nearly 50 years later. But after Congress passed it, the ERA was sent to the states for ratification with a 7-year deadline. The ERA quickly secured 22 of the necessary 38 state ratifications, but the pace slowed as opposition organized. Although Congress granted an extension for ratification until 1982, the ERA tragically did not succeed in getting the 3 additional state ratifications needed before the deadline. Of the 15 states who did not ratify, Arkansas was on the list and still has not ratified it. No surprise there, right? Sadly, 5 states voted to rescind their ratification between 1972 and 1982. The ERA was reintroduced to Congress on July 14, 1982, and has been before every session of Congress since that time without passing. It has only made it to the floor for vote once since then. So that's a tough one. A year later, the Supreme Court establishes abortion right in 1973. This decision was upheld in 1992 but overturned in 2022. In 1974, the Supreme Court rules that pregnant women cannot be forced to leave jobs. And the same year, 1974, the Equal Credit Opportunity Act was passed. This gave women the right to apply for and receive credit cards and loans in their own names. Following the momentum of pro-equality legislation, the UUA unanimously passes the Women in Religion Resolution in 1977. So we didn't wait for this to become popular, right? We were on the front lines. The third and fourth waves of feminism run from the 1990s to the present, and these waves intersect with LGBTQIA+ and DEI movements. The Violence Against Women Act was passed in 1994, and this act funds services for victims of rape and domestic violence. In 2003, the wage gap between men and women gets worse. In 2003, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, women made only 75.5 cents for every dollar that men earned. And this was the largest backslide in the wage ratio since 1991. The Me Too movement and social media activism kicks off in the 2010s, and these movements have encouraged women to share their stories with injustice to help spread awareness that this is still a problem for us today. And like I said, every woman has a story. Just ask. The Affordable Health Care Act is signed into law in 2010. And under this law, private health insurance companies must provide birth control without copays or deductibles. And the law requires private insurance companies to cover preventative services. In 2013, the ban against women in military combat positions is lifted. In 2015, same-sex marriage was legalized in the United States in a historic victory for gender equality. I hope we're all very proud of that one. And I hope we don't lose it. On June 26, 2015, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down all state bans on same-sex marriage, legalized it in all 50 states, and required states to honor out-of-state same-sex marriage licenses. Around 2019, diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives explode. These were connected to the Black Lives Matter and Me Too movements. Many people wrongly assume that DEI is only about racial equality. But DEI is much more than that and promotes representation and participation of individuals from marginalized backgrounds. DEI efforts seek to promote balanced representation among diverse racial, ethnic, gender, sexual orientation, ability, socioeconomic, veteran status, and other groups. In 2019, the Equality Act was introduced. The Equality Act is a bill that, if passed, would amend the Civil Rights Act of 1964 to prohibit discrimination on the basis of sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity in employment, housing, education, and many other areas. It is not passed due to opposition from Republicans. In 2022, a devastating blow to women's rights happened when the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. And since then, 19 states have banned or limited access to abortion, which includes Arkansas. Since 2023, DEI initiatives have come under attack. And as recently as this past January, President Trump called DEI efforts illegal and immoral discrimination programs and public waste in his executive order. He has demanded that all governmental DEI programs be shut down by January 23rd. And right now, that's what we're dealing with, these efforts being shut down. So that's a lot. Now that we're up to date, it's clear to see that the journey toward equal rights in this country has not been an uninterrupted one. Sadly, we have a long legacy of illiberal values working against equality. These illiberal values hold that rights should be limited by race, ethnicity, gender, and class. The presence of these socially oppressive values and firm stance against equality for all is in sharp focus at this time in our nation. But I believe the UU's legacy and ongoing commitment to justice and equality will and must prevail. So let's return to the Women and Religion Resolution passed by the UUA in 1977. The resolution states, whereas a principle of the Unitarian Universalist Association is to affirm, defend, and promote the supreme worth and dignity of every human personality and the use of the democratic method in human relationships. And whereas great strides have been taken to affirm this principle within our denomination, and whereas some models of human relationships arising from religious myths, historical materials, and other teachings still create and perpetuate attitudes that cause women everywhere to be overlooked and undervalued, and whereas children, youth, and adults internalize and act on these cultural models, thereby tending to limit their sense of self-worth and dignity. Therefore, be it resolved that the 1977 General Assembly of the Unitarian Universalist Association calls upon all Unitarian Universalists to examine carefully their own religious beliefs and the extent to which these beliefs influence sex role stereotypes within their own families. The resolution further urged the UUA and UU churches and organizations to put traditional assumptions and language in perspective and avoid sexist assumptions and language in the future. It requested the UUA to join with those who are encouraging others in society to examine the relationship between religious and cultural attitudes toward women. So what were the outcomes of this? This groundbreaking resolution led to revising the UUA's principles to use more inclusive gender language and affirm women. Women in religion groups argued that the principles failed to show respect to the earth, which led to the addition of the seventh principle in 1985, respect for the interdependent web of all existence, of which we are a part. This directly reflects the eco-feminist movement of the times when the resolution was passed. Ecofeminism blends feminism and environmentalism based on the perceived connection between women and nature and how both have been exploited by patriarchal societies. Following the resolution, UU women demanded and got curricula celebrating goddesses, women religious leaders, and women's spirituality. This included Cakes for the Queen of Heaven by Reverend Shirley Rank, published in 1986, and Rise Up and Call Her Name by Elizabeth Fisher, published in 1994. Reverend John Johnson recently spoke to our fellowship, got me thinking. He was talking about how people fail to stop and question the deep-seated biases embedded within their own religious beliefs and views. He shared how the Abrahamic faiths have collectively decided God is a man as an example of such biases. The patriarchal structure of Abrahamic faiths is the main reason why I don't follow them and why I turn to a nature-based spirituality. I cannot accept the dissonance between believing all genders are equal and being part of a religion where the female divine is not celebrated on equal standing with that of men. Thank you, Jori. As an outcome of the resolution, UU paganism and earth-centered movements have transformed the UU living tradition and given an equal voice to women and other marginalized genders. These movements led to the formation of the Covenant of UU Pagans, the inclusion of earth-centered and goddess-imaged content in the updated hymnal Singing the Living Tradition, and the inclusion of the neo-pagan Wheel of the Year holidays in the UUA liturgical calendar. In 1995, earth-centered religions were brought to the same institutional level as other religious roots of Unitarian Universalism when a sixth source was adopted. Spiritual teachings of earth-centered traditions which celebrate the sacred circle of life and instruct us to live in harmony with the rhythms of nature. The sixth source has been vital in efforts to promote gender equality because nature-based traditions tend to offer more balanced and positive representations of marginalized genders. And as we know, representation matters. In addition to these outcomes, the resolution led to the rapid increase of female UU ministers from about 5% in 1977 to about 60% today. And our very own Rev. Renee is among those female strong numbers. Along with more women in the pulpit, feminist theology has reshaped the tone of both UU worship and religious education. Many of our contemporary worship forms were designed by women in religion groups, such as the chalice lighting and sharing of joys and sorrows. Yes, women did that. The water communion we hold annually was first celebrated during the earliest known UU pagan worship in 1980. So I have covered just a few highlights of what an organization and community can achieve when equality is its mission. I'm immensely proud to share this history with you all and believe it demonstrates how a commitment to a justice and equality can prevail when turned to action. These are dark times in our country, but our light shines on, and we will remain steadfast in upholding liberal values and equality for all. Feminism is for everybody. Thank you.
I'm good with that. Please rise if you are willing and able. And keep in mind that every woman in the world, every man in the world, every human in the world, and every nation in the world is asked to keep their mind on freedom. If every woman in the world had her mind set on freedom, if every woman in the world dreamed the sweet dream of peace, if every woman of every nation, young and old, each generation held her hands out in the name of love, there would be no more war. There would be peace on earth. Thank you all. You may be seated. Here's Diane.
Chris, I feel you on names. Before we extinguish our chalice, I offer this quotation by Malala Yousafzai. I had to spell that out. I raise up my voice, not so that I can shout, but so that those without a voice can be heard. We cannot all succeed when half of us are held back. So, as we extinguish the chalice, please join us in the words on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. There are just a couple of announcements in the order of service. I want to point out that UUF Groundswork Day is the 20th, Thursday the 20th. They're just getting started back up as the weather warms up. And a new group, I believe, or a new organization of it, youngish adult potluck and hangout twice a month. It's in your order of service. Please take a look at that. Lee, I'm sorry we've got to cut off. There are a couple of things going on politically. Please do pay attention to Facebook and all the announcements.
I'm going to bring her up in a sec.
Okay.
Okay, so real quick, the image here that you see is the cover of the original Ritual of Order service where the water ceremony was introduced. And as we come home like rivers to the sea within this sacred space, I just want to take a moment to thank the UU women who have risen up for equal rights. These are just a few of the amazing women who have made the world a more equitable place by using their voice and fighting for justice. And I also want to acknowledge and thank all of the amazing women and supporters of women here today. Our voice is our power. Thank you. Lee. And Lee's here to tell us how to use our voice.
There are no dearth of opportunities to use your voice these days. Ben was kind enough to brief us a little bit on the SAVE Act. That's actually a voter suppression act. It's been passed by the House. What is being passed out now is information that gives you complete information about how you can really research this and what you can do about it, whom you can contact. I've included the contact information for Senators Cotton and Bozeman and other links that you can use to really look into this. Ironically, it stands for Safeguarding American Voter Eligibility. Again, it's been passed by the House of Representatives. It's been read twice in the Senate. It's unclear when it may come to a vote. But it would have devastating consequences for our democracy because it would require that you, in person, in order to cast a ballot or to register to vote, you'd have to present one of two documents, a passport or your birth certificate. Only 1 in 10 Americans have ready availability of those documents. So it would disenfranchise, among others, 69 million married women who changed their names, transgender people like my own child who has changed their name. It would make it much more difficult for 41% of our Arkansan residents who live in rural communities who drive now on average 4.5 hours to register to vote or to cast a ballot. So this information we'll try to get in the bulletin again. In addition, this week there will be a town hall at Good Shepherd at 1 p.m. As you know, in the news recently, there have been a number of both U.S. and Arkansas politicians who've refused to have town halls. So we'll be protesting their absence or their refusal to do so. And then finally, I was very pleased. I spoke at a committee meeting this Tuesday for the Quorum Court. Beth Koger put forth a resolution declaring that Washington County, in addition to the city of Fayetteville, be a welcoming and inclusive community. That passed 8-4, but now it's going to be voted on by the full council on Tuesday. So there are about 5 of us who spoke, and we would welcome more people. That'll be the Quorum Council meeting, 6 p.m. at the county courthouse this Tuesday. Thanks so much for your attention. I know this has been a long service. Thank you.
Thank you. As you rise up for coffee and community, I have a song on the topic. Happy New Year. Change is near. Rise up across the nation and across the world. Women's voices heard. Women's voices heard. Rise up, 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 rise up. Strength in our numbers, we are gathering. Rise up, rise up. In our silence, by our actions, with our best intention. Voices heard, let your voice be heard. Rise up.